everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here after a Thursday night eviction. Kyle was sent out of the house unanimously. A lot to unpack from another emotional night of Big Brother. We will talk about it all here with you tonight live. Let's welcome back, of course, the great Chantele Francis. Chantele, how are you?
I mean, I'm doing pretty well under the circumstances. I'm happy to do this is my first recap of the season with you, Rob, and I think ever with you, Maggie. So this is definitely a momentous moment, we'll say, in my podcasting for the season.
Okay. Well, great to have you here with us tonight. Of course, you mentioned she's here back with us. It's Maggie Morgan. Maggie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Chantele, I feel like that can't possibly be true. One time Asia was on a podcast with me too, and she said the same thing. And I found before the podcast was over the other time we had been together. I hope at least that's not true because I love podcasting with you. But I'm here, what a large episode to unpack tonight.
Yeah.
A lot of light was shed on some of the things that were blocked from feeds and a lot of stuff, we can talk about maybe what wasn't shown. So ready to get into it.
Yep, of course. And back with us tonight, the great Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
I'm doing, Rob.
Yep. This was, certainly like we got to see a lot of the conversations that were happening inside the house. And so, you definitely got what the show wanted to do. I know there's been so much discussion from all of the podcasts about how the feeds have been in and out. And so we definitely have some things that we hadn't seen before, and then still a lot of questions about everything. And then definitely, for me, some curious decisions about how they ultimately went through and treated this like a normal live eviction, which to me, I don't know why we went through the pageantry of treating this like this was a normal vote with speeches, with people going into the diary room, doing shout outs, doing dances, when this really should have just been, okay, Kyle is going to just, say goodbye and walk out the door.
Yeah. Where's Jeff Probst to call an audible when you need him?
Yeah. I don't like, this was to me just so silly the way that they handled like the whole like live eviction part of this.
Yeah, I totally was expecting for them to just like have him get up and say his goodbyes and actually just leave the house, since it was going to be clearly a unanimous vote. I didn't think that they were going to go through it. And then when they did, I was like, oh, okay. I thought that I didn't think that they were going to handle it that way at all.
I think though, Big Brother as a show treats like all of that with much more, I think, reverence even than Jeff Probst does, because Jeff Probst is an executive producer of Survivor. It's not live, it's not scheduled, so he can just sort of make the call, and like he's the guy, who's making the call. Like Julie, I'm not sure that she would be able to
Sure, it's not Julie's call, but the powers that be easily could have made the call to not go through with like the 5 people voting live on the show.
They would have no idea what to do with the rest of their episode, though, Rob.
Yeah.
They'd be like, we have to show the HOH results? That's not... No.
Like they started it at like 33 after, and I was like, oh, we might get the full head of household competition. Yeah. And then I was like, no? And it's something that was fast and short too.
Yeah, the 3-minute competition. Speaking of fast and short.
Yeah, there was about a Kyle length amount of time left in that comp.
Yeah. So no, we can't do that. We got to watch 5 people go and vote. And the most ridiculous part for me of the whole thing was that Julie still has to fill the time. So it's like, well, the House has unanimously talked about how Kyle has made racist comments in the House, but let's see what happens. But maybe somebody will go in a different direction.
I kind of liked about this episode was it kind of reminded me of old school, the real world, and where we actually had like these kind of conversations. And that was pretty much what the show was just seeing people in a house together, learning to live together, and they're all from different walks of life. And so it did kind of bring me back to like kind of 20 years ago or more, where we would see the kind of these discussions had on TV. We don't really get those anymore. It's heavily edited, and they, as we know, they've been kind of avoiding showing us these things. So I did appreciate that it did have kind of a real feel and a raw feel. And I did feel like I learned a lot about these players, more than I've learned up until now in the house.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what was new that we hadn't seen before. Taran, was most of this stuff that had not been on the live feeds?
So let's see. So the conversation between Kyle and Brittany that took place during the movie. We did not see that. The conversation in the have not room with Kyle, Monty, and Terrence, we did not see. The house meeting in the living room, we did not see. The conversation between Kyle and Monty, we did see. And the conversation between Kyle and Alyssa, where she broke up with him, we also did see. So we saw some of it, but a lot of it was stuff that was cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I don't cry that often for Big Brother, but I did choke up and tear a little bit watching this episode. I thought it was pretty heartfelt hearing some of these players' experiences.
Yeah, for sure. That there were so many different moments. I think specifically the conversation between Monty talking to Kyle about just how much he had been hurt by the whole situation after he really felt like that, Kyle was his friend. They were together in all the different alliances along the way. And so to learn that what Kyle was thinking during this whole time was especially hurtful to Monty.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And he just wants to be a man and making new friends and playing this game together. And then he realized that something that he can't change kind of was going to be altering, the way that he was going to be playing the game. And so I felt for him big time. Monty really showed a lot of what he was going through and even shedding some tears himself.
Yeah, I think the conversation between Kyle and Monty was the most important thing that they showed. I had a lot of issues with their decision making this week. A lot of it having to do with the fact that a lot of these conversations were cut. And even before this episode aired, I was like, I don't trust them to show me whatever it is that they're going to show me. And honestly, I will say I expected better than what we got. I think they managed to disappoint me even further because it really did feel like this edit was very hyper focused on Kyle and his experience.
True.
And there were a lot of conversations that Monty had throughout the week. That one with Kyle was, yes, a great conversation. It was important for him to express that how he was impacted by this. But there were plenty of conversations between Monty and Taylor, Monty and Terrence, all three of them, where they were talking about their experiences and their frustrations. And all of their conversations on the episode were filtered through Kyle and how this impacted Kyle and how much they forgave Kyle. And I think the most damning thing that we did not see in the episode is that Kyle admitted straight up, he said the words, "This was about race. Your race impacted how I saw things." And they omitted that multiple times. And that to me is just like really just really frustrating because it's such an important element to both what's happening in the game and also Kyle's experience. Him admitting it is huge for, I think, everyone involved. And it was huge for Monty, and it's part of why Monty was talking about forgiveness. It's why Monty went from, as Kyle explained, looking at him with disgust to being able to talk about being his friend and learning and growing, because he admitted it. And they omitted the admission and only showed the forgiveness element. And that seemed really, really devious to me.
Yeah, that's not great. pick up on that in the moment, but hearing you talk about it, like it's kind of unfair because like we don't get to see how it's impacted everybody else in the house. We're only really seeing it through one lens, and it's the one lens that always gets the forgiveness, that always is allowed to make all these mistakes. And you know, we see Taylor speak on it a little bit about the fact that she doesn't get to have this grace, but she had other conversations where she was speaking with Kyle about how she doesn't get to have the same grace and forgiveness that Alyssa is going to be receiving and what Kyle is receiving. And so it's kind of like they kind of emphasize that without like seeing what is actually going on and being like, hey, maybe we need to rise up and show the experience of Taran's and of Monty and of Taylor in this moment, and how they are really reacting and how they're digesting it. So I agree with you 100% that it was a missed opportunity to show everybody's experience of this event.
I think that that's also just something that's hard for the people who are the missed opportunity that the show had to have the people sitting at home watching who are getting told this story and being asked to identify with one person within the story. And the person that they chose the audience to most specifically identify, the narrative that they chose was Kyle's. And imagine what the show could have done if they had shown all of this through Monty's eyes, through Taylor's eyes, instead of just having them talk to Kyle and educate him about the experience. It's like, again, we are then like pseudo Kyle getting educated by these people on their experience rather than having the focus of the episode be their experience and having us feel what they are going through. They chose to center it around Kyle and have us feel what Kyle is going through. And I think that that is the biggest missed opportunity that Big Brother did with this episode, because when watching the feeds, watching this go down, doing the Monday update with Taran, all I could think about, having watched all of it, was Monty and Taylor getting that information and having to come downstairs, like watching them move throughout the house, knowing what they knew, and to have the audience members at home, these people who live in the Midwest, these people who have not been exposed to this, rather than having it be an educational experience, it could have also been a, emotional, like, let's move through it as if you are in this situation and you can learn that way. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely seeing things through like Terrence, Monty, and Taylor's eyes would allow them to have a different experience and a different understanding, more so viscerally, as to like, oh, these actions, this is how it affected these people, and this is why it's wrong. But experientially, they're going to be able to understand it because they're seeing it through the eyes of the people actually affected. Totally agree.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It really felt to me like they wanted to tell a story where Michael and Brittany were the big bads, and for bringing this up, because if they hadn't brought it up, then none of this would have happened. And Kyle is upset with them because why would they bring it up? And Kyle is sort of able to say, well, look, I did have some reasons, one of which is Taylor mentioning that she didn't want to nominate Jasmine, as though that, he letting him explain that without then again, because again, they didn't show him saying, you know what, this was based on race. Instead, they showed him in the denial phase where he was blaming it on Taylor, and how she wouldn't nominate Jasmine, as though he had those decisions to make and those thoughts after that moment and not before, because he was talking about this long before she mentioned that she didn't want to put up Jasmine. But from a show perspective, I guarantee you a lot of people saw that moment and were like, he did have a reason to think that, though. And they are absolutely not thinking that this was based in racial bias. And the show absolutely just let that go, let that perception exist out there. And again, just like put all of the blame on Michael and Brittany for like, and it seemed like production was mad at Michael and Brittany the most for forcing them to have this episode. Like it felt like that was the perspective. And I think that is the perspective of a lot of people who don't think that Kyle did anything wrong, is that they're most mad at Michael and Brittany for doing this. And I think that there are lots of people who are upset with both parties because Michael and Brittany waited too long, and they're upset with Kyle for doing it in the first place. But this edit really felt to me like, let's explore how beautiful it is that we're forgiving Kyle, and screw Michael and Brittany for doing this to Kyle. And it really felt like it was coming at it from all the wrong angles. And it was frustrating for me to watch.
See, I thought last night was a little bit more of with Michael and Brittany. I felt like that they were trying to like at least like paint them in a positive light, but I thought it was coming across poorly because, especially if people knew like what had really been going on, it seemed a little like Michael and Brittany like patting themselves on the back last night. I feel like Michael didn't even speak in this episode almost. They feel like he was yes.
They sure made sure to show him in the storage room going, bye, Kyle.
I saw that. I was like, oh, they do not like him right now at all. Definitely not Golden Boy moment.
And do not get me wrong. They should be criticized for the timing of this. We've been talking about that. But it felt to me like the message here was they shouldn't have said anything, that they are villains for having brought this to everyone's attention at all. Felt like what we were doing here, because they went so hard on only Michael and Brittany and so light on Kyle. And again, like that is somewhat true to what was happening in the house, right? Michael or Monty did have that conversation with Kyle. Taylor did have those conversations with Kyle. And I do think that it's important that we show their response, but it lacks the correct impact, for me at least, when you omit his admission and everything that was actually happening in those moments. And it feels like they're cheapening these conversations, and they're playing these like tinkly music, moments behind Kyle every time he speaks. And it's just like, we skipped over the hard part, and we're now just like, yay, everyone. It's an after school special about how we can all get along. And it was just frustrating.
Well, I think that was go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I want to clarify the comment that I made earlier about editing through like Kyle's eyes and the way that it's going to look to people. I just said the Midwest, that's where I'm from. What I should have said is the casual audience, because that's what you're speaking to, Taran, is they're editing it with the tinkly piano music. And that's the way that the people from the casual audience are going to see it. Wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. I thought that one of the things that was interesting in the episode was that we got to see a lot of from the Terrence and Monty and even Turner having the conversation about that, a lot of us had outside of the house of, but why did they wait so long to ultimately say this? That's some of the conversation that led into the house meeting. They're talking in the kitchen. Why didn't they blow the whistle 2 weeks ago? And I did think that was a fair point that the house guests were asking. I don't know if it really got explored too much in the episode, but I thought that was interesting that we were seeing that presented in the episode.
Yeah, I feel like it's really hard because it doesn't happen all the time, or we don't get to see it happen all the time, that I don't think that Brittany and Michael actually knew really what to do with this information. And if they were in their regular walks of life, at their job or whatnot, they would feel more free to be able to come forward with this kind of information. And because they're playing this game, it's kind of like, if I say this, it's going to ruin my game. Or if I don't say it, if I say it, I think that they were wrestling with it. And I do think that in the end, their timing of it was using race for strategy, unfortunately. But I can give them a little bit of compassion for the fact that everybody would be not know necessarily how to do the right thing if they're still trying to win the game. And so the fact that the whole platform of this decision was based on a game for a lot of money, I feel bad for them a little bit that they had to make this decision, and now that they're being vilified for it. Understandably, because I do think they used it for strategy, but I feel bad for the sense that, because they were playing a game, they didn't know how to use this information correctly.
Actually, now that I think of it, they did. So they did address it in the house meeting, and they said, well, everything was happening so fast with the Dyer Fest, we didn't really have the chance to talk about it. And if Kyle got voted out, then we would have just not said anything because it really doesn't belong in the game. We would have just like kept it quiet because that's really outside of the game what he was talking about. To which there was some pushback to.
Yeah, I didn't love this explanation from Michael. I think
it's not great. No.
Yeah. I don't think it really rings true. Combined with some of the other things that they've been saying on the feeds, I think that I think they recognize that what they did was not great. And I think that I think that they're trying to explain it away. I think they're still in that denial phase that Kyle was in initially. And I think that they should just say, you know what? Yeah, I made the wrong call there. We should have said it earlier, and we didn't think about saying it until he pissed us off enough that we wanted to. And that was wrong. And we should have been better allies. I think that's what they need to say, and I don't think that they're really saying that yet.
I thought that.
And I think go ahead, Rob.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, and I think in particular, that's what Terrence was bringing up in this episode. And he said some really powerful things when he was talking to Michael and Brittany about their timing. And when he and Kyle and Monty were in the Have Not room talking, and he was like, if I had known this information, you would have gone home and Joseph would not have gone home.
Yeah.
And the timing of it, I think specifically for Terrence, knowing that he sent Joseph home on his HOH, that was the most painful part of all of this to him.
Yeah. He said that, Joseph was having a meltdown and I didn't believe him, but he was true. Taran, is that accurate? Because that I was under the impression that, that Terrence did know what was going on and was like, obviously did not know about Kyle talking about a potential cookout in the house. But did this change like what Terrence knew when with Joseph?
Not really. I mean, so, Kyle did paint the picture of it was Taylor, Monty, and Joseph that started the alliance when it was him, much more so. But the picture he was painting at that point was mostly true, that he was on the outs, mostly due to his own biases and actions that he took to make himself on the outs by that point. I think something that can't be understated is that when Kyle had these ideas, about a month ago, he started acting upon them, creating a new alliance based on these ideas and no longer talking as much game or moving forward in the game with the people of color, Monty, Joseph, Taylor. And because of that, those relationships degraded and those people started to bond more with each other because of a situation he created. And so by the time he talked to Terrence about this, his description of where the alliance stood was mostly true by then. It was just the how it got there that was definitely untrue. Would it or should it have changed Terrence's decision at the time? I don't think so. But I can understand why Terrence would feel upset and hurt and betrayed by this.
And the idea that it's coming again through the information he's getting is through Kyle's lens, and knowing that now there's this admitted bias here, of course it's going to be exactly what Terrence said.
Now, how much did Terrence want to keep Kyle this week?
A lot.
Yeah.
He made a few pitches. He tried with Monty. He tried with Brittany. If anyone would have taken a bite of this, he would have gladly given it to him and kept Kyle. Yeah.
Okay. We still have more to talk about here. From what I understand, we have a new HOH. Is it worthwhile to hit the buzzer and to bring this to the conversation?
Let's do it.
Really?
Okay. All right. So we still have more to talk about with the episode. We will circle back, but since we have some, we haven't done this in a while. How about this? Let's go ahead and hit the old, let me get the right thing up. Okay, here we go.
Breaking news are happening now.
All right, Taran, we have a new HOH.
We do. And the new HOH is Michael. Michael winning his 8th competition this season.
The second I saw those
Oh,
puzzle
the puzzle.
pieces,
I was like, Michael's winning.
my roommate looked at me and said, congratulations, Michael. You know.
And what this means is that he is one competition away from tying Janelle's record from Big Brother All-Stars set in 2006 and has been untouched, unmatched since then.
But however, it also means that he is going to be vulnerable in the double eviction 1 week from tonight. So not really where a big comp threat like Michael wants to be, but considering that it will be the final 6, he will definitely have a chance to play in the veto.
Yes, he is guaranteed 2 more competitions, and in those 2 competitions, he can either survive the double eviction and theoretically tie or even break Janelle's record, or he can go home in the double and have to be satisfied with either just tying or just coming short of the record. He will compete in this week's veto and then will compete in the double eviction veto, which is kind of a tricky one to guarantee a victory in. I definitely would say he has an advantage there, but I would say Monty also can compete very well in a double eviction veto. And you know, it's not guaranteed that he would definitely win that one. But he may have Brittany. If it goes the way the double evictions often do, then it would be a quiz competition followed by, you know, the clown shoe veto, essentially. And if Brittany wins that quiz HOH competition, which I think she's perfectly capable of, then he wouldn't even need to win the veto. So he does have a couple of outs, but it's definitely not looking great. This was not ideal for Michael to have to win this one.
They've been, though, in the past couple of years on the double evictions, been doing the quiz competition as the veto competition. They did that in 21 and in 23. I can't remember what they did in 22, but that's, you know, notoriously the season that didn't happen.
They had the triple eviction.
Which
I believe was a quiz for HOH, and then like a balance
there was a physical
beam,
veto,
veto. So yeah, I mean, we may have something like that. It's definitely not guaranteed that it follows that formula. And so we may even have a more winnable veto and or HOH than the usual clown shoe, which is, you know, it favors athletic people, but is also pretty crapshooty.
Yeah. Okay. Of Turner, Terrence, Alyssa, the most likely person to be Michael's target will be Turner?
I think so. That's not locked in by any means. And I would say the path of least resistance right now would be to nominate Terrence and Alyssa and then see what happens with the veto for a Turner target. What he really should do is nominate Turner and Monty straight up and just make sure that he gets one of them out. Because as we all know, he is fighting for his life in this game, and every comp counts and every possible competitor in those comps count. He may come to that same conclusion, but I don't think that he's there right now.
Okay. All right. So some backdrop of what's going on right now, of course. Taran and Puya will have the full update for you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Okay. What else from the episode, from in terms of this discussion that we want to highlight? Were there any other parts from the conversations that were had around this in the house that we want to highlight?
I just think Taylor is the most gracious, forgiving, kind-hearted person that we've maybe ever seen on the show. Like she was bullied to the one of the highest extremes we've ever seen at the beginning of the show. And all she has done is move forward with grace and love. And I just am in awe of her every single time that she opens her mouth. She's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the maturity from, I mean, not just Taylor, Also from Monty throughout this whole experience this week, Terrence had some great moments in this episode too. Like they really did get, while there were many misfires in this cast, they did get some things right with the people that are in this house. And because this was a very complicated set of circumstances that people had to deal with in this house. So people handled it very maturely.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I was so frustrated with the handling of the situation, because I do think it's right to focus on the conversation that Kyle had with Monty, and I do think that, like, seeing Taylor's speech, which she really wanted to make sure that she had that speech to sort of like put a button on or put a bow on the week, and sending Kyle out. And they both put it so beautifully in their own ways. And the strength I think that it takes to be able to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm hurt, and to the person that hurt me, I am offering you grace, and I am going to sit here and try to help you learn and better yourself, because because that's the right thing to do, or at least that's what they feel like, and because we don't want you to feel undue pain about this situation if you are willing to learn and be better. And it is people like Taylor and Monty who have that strength, who are the people that are going to just like that are changing the world, right? Like, that is so important, how great those conversations are. And one of the key elements of it is that Kyle has, to this point at least, been very accepting and very much like, I am completely in the wrong. I was basing my thoughts in race. And that's why those conversations were so important, because he needed to get there first in order for those conversations to feel genuine. And so like that's why I hate that they took that shortcut, and they didn't show the full journey. But yeah, I mean, just wonderful conversations and wonderful people, particularly Taylor, of course, who just where did they find this human being? Like, she's just so great.
Yeah. We did have a conversation between Kyle and Alyssa in the episode. And sadly, Kyle was going to leave the house, not a man in a relationship anymore. Alyssa does not think that they should leave this game in a relationship. And for Kyle's mom, she's like, at least one thing went right this week.
Oh, yes.
Hallelujah.
I was sitting there playing my world's tiniest violin during this whole section. Like, wow.
Maggie, she spent her whole life trying to fix grown men.
Hey, join the club.
Doctor.
Sis.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. He's too broken for her. I did think that she had a good takeaway. You never fought for me. I want somebody who's going to put me first, and that's it. I don't want to imagine having babies with somebody like you.
I mean, she definitely was in like another world with what she thought that the progression of the relationship was going to be. Because I was like, can't you tell that he's like not really at that adult stage yet in his life? Definitely. I mean, I think it was smart of her to not continue with this relationship, but I also don't think it's smart of her to even get into the relationship in the beginning. So yeah, it's kind of hard to look at.
So she's not going to be imagining having babies with Kyle anymore.
I sure hope not. I sure hope that's not anything on her mind in the next month or so. I sure hope that,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Taran, then that was it. They broke up, and that was the end of Kyle and Alyssa.
Yeah, there definitely weren't like at least 5 more attempts at making babies. That definitely didn't happen that way.
So 50 more seconds.
This breakup was a journey. Okay, this is the start of the conversation of breaking up. Okay,
Yes. Yes. Sometimes
they
a
are flawed.
journey has sometimes the road is blocked and you need to take some detours,
Yeah,
and it adds, a few seconds to your destination time.
sure,
It's just how it works.
sure. Um, we did end all of the pre-live segments with the Monty and Taylor conversation about how Monty comes to Taylor and says, "Hey, we need to take a shot at Michael. He's been so good, and if there is time to take a shot, we should take the shot. Of course, based on now what we know, Michael being the HOH." That shot will not come this week. I guess the only question will be, will Taylor reveal any of this information this week?
I mean, I'm worried that she might only for in the past, she has said a lot of things that Monty when the houses were split. She did say a lot of things that Monty said to Brittany and Michael, but I wouldn't be surprised if she bonded with Monty this week and that she might feel like, no, maybe I need to like protect him in that way. And so she might keep it to herself this time, but I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she has told Brittany that Monty wants to take the shot, and Brittany has told Michael, not specifically like, "Hey, Monty is coming for you right now," but she has said very specifically, "Just so you know, me and Taylor are the only people who are not trying to take you out of the game right now." So she is she has implied it to Michael in the same way that Kyle implied to Michael about like the pound. Like she's pretty much told him, he pretty much knows. He just doesn't know how hard Monty is like really pushing to try and get Taylor to flip on him. If he did, that could theoretically change his mind, and it definitely could come out. But this is Monty is no stranger to this. Michael has had 2 HOHs prior to this one, and in both of those HOHs, Monty has spent a good portion of them talking about how Michael needs to go. So, and he has not yet gotten completely caught. So, we'll see if third time's a charm.
Pattern continues.
Yeah. We skipped over the veto ceremony, and that there was a lot of discussion this week over should the veto have been used on Taylor and not on Brittany this week, because after everything that went on in the house, why not take, like, you know what, Taylor, you shouldn't have to sit on the block this week. Who was opposed to that? Did that come up in the house?
Yes. Terrence didn't like it. Monty didn't like it. Turner didn't love it. When Monty talked to Taylor about it, she basically said, "Well, I kind of told Michael without telling him that I actually wanted to be on the block because I wanted to be the one to give a speech on Thursday night.
Okay.
I didn't want the final 2 voices on this topic to be 2 white people, Brittany and Kyle. I wanted to be there to give my thought, and rightfully so, because they cut her conversation with Kyle. So she needed that live moment that they couldn't cut to give her thought process on the whole situation. And so she really wanted to be there. That though did not really quell Monty's dislike of the situation. He has continued to push, and Taylor has kind of come around, at least when talking to Monty. She's telling him like, "Well, I haven't forgot that Michael has won the veto twice when I'm on the block, and twice he hasn't used it on me." I don't know how genuinely upset she is about that, or if she's just trying to get Monty to stop trying to push this on her. But primarily it was Monty and Terrence and Turner that were upset by the choice of who to use the veto on. And they also, by the way, cut Taylor's speech in the veto as well. Everybody
said that her speech was fantastic that she gave. So that was disappointing that we didn't get to see that.
let's talk about the actual live show. Again, I told you how I just was completely just so surprised that we went through the whole, live show like this was a normal week of Big Brother. That Kyle gave a speech, and I felt like it was like a pretty like normal speech. I felt like was not really so much. He did talk about this as like the beginning of a journey for him, and basically like said some nice things about everybody in the house.
Yeah, he practiced this, including the part where he chokes up when he talks to Alyssa, and he kind of like ran it by everyone. He wanted to say something about everyone. It was definitely like very, very thought out in terms of what he wanted to say and why.
Okay. Well, what about Taylor's speech? Basically, her thesis was that Taylor chooses strength. She chooses love, and strength looks a lot like love.
He was nice. She's definitely
Beautiful.
Miss Congeniality. With what she presents and how she presents it, it's quite eloquent and beautiful. And she's very. I really enjoy what she wants to share. This is what she wanted people to take away from her being on the block in this whole moment, and I thought it was really beautiful. So I enjoyed her speech.
Of all the nights to not have a live vote, we really could have taped these ahead of time. Instead, all right, Michael, you're up first. Okay, go walk into the room.
Time for Rihanna shout outs.
And like,
Yeah.
the thing that is the most annoying about all of it is that we don't get to see the end of the HOH competition. They went on for probably another 20 seconds total. That's the competition that they did in the double eviction last year that Xavier won in about 41 seconds. Like, it was so annoying that now we're going to have to watch about 10 minutes of that content on the episode next week, when the way you end a Big Brother eviction episode is you crown a new HOH.
I don't think we've crowned an HOH one time this season on Thursday.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think we have like qualified people for the HOH competition, but I don't think we've done it once.
It's kept us from having to deal with like what do they create a whole new Sunday comp for? But like just don't have. And we talked about it before, but just don't have a Sunday comp. It's fine. You'll be okay.
I like that voice. Yeah. So we did get to hear. We got our obligatory shout out here for Rihanna. Here's Monty voting this week.
Hi, Monty.
Hey, Julie. We may love Rihanna, but Julie Chen Mouvet is #1 in our hearts.
Oh, now you say that. Okay. I'll take it, though. Thank you, Monty.
I didn't catch that. Did he say we made love?
No, we
may love.
We may love. Okay.
We may love.
Hi, Monty.
Come on.
Hey, Julie. We may love Rihanna, but Julie Chen Mouvet is #1 in our hearts.
Oh, now you say
It's
that. Okay.
the cadence,
I'll take it, though.
the rhythm
Thank
of
you,
that
Monty.
is just all wrong. Like it
was
definitely.
It was off. It was off, and I did love Julie's.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. That's getting a permanent spot.
Yes. It's a little bit of a different pitch than ooh. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like every time I play this, people react with.
Yes. But it seems like that Julie seems to have taken offense to all of the Rihanna shout outs, because she's like, oh, you say that. Oh, you say that now.
Or is it flirting? I don't know. It could have been a little bit of flirt.
With mom. Oh my God.
Hi, Monty.
Hey, Julie. We may love Rihanna, but Julie Chen Mouvet is #1 in our hearts.
Oh, now you say that. Okay. I'll take it, though. Thank you, Monty.
Flirting.
One in our hearts.
Mr. Chen Moonves have to say about that flirting. We're gonna have to get into all that.
I think for a moment there, Julie was like,
good
wow.
for the goose. Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, wow. coming in to talk to me and you bring up Rihanna first, eh? And then he was like, but we like you, Julie Chen movement. She's like, you say that now. You saw my reaction. You knew.
Yeah. All right. So ultimately, it's a vote of 5-0 that we're going to see Kyle leave. Sort of muted applause from the crowd outside. Not nothing. But they had a way bigger ovation for when we come back. Like the audience was like twice as loud to go to commercial.
And there was a moment during Julie's interview with Kyle where he was doing like the 1,000-yard stare. He was like very, I think, sort of like, oh my gosh, millions of people saw all of this in a way that I was like, oh gosh, is he like going to take a breath? We're live on television, Kyle. Like I felt like he really sort of was going in and out of it as the interview went on.
Yeah, he was definitely processing what was happening. He was just like, okay, I've kind of forgot about this part. I really am going to have to face everything that I said and did in that house. I think it was really coming clear to him.
So how do we think that Julie's interview with Kyle went?
It'll be light, I'm sure. I don't think she'll get into anything super deep.
Well, from what we saw tonight, as opposed to we know there's still more to come in Julie's conversation with Kyle, and I guess you get to hear messages from the house guests as well. I thought she asked some pointed questions to Kyle. I don't think that she came out with ready to totally rake him over the coals, but I thought that she had a few pointed questions for him.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was fine. I felt like I personally felt like the questions were meant to sound pointed more than they were pointed. And I think Kyle's answers represented that. Again, like avoiding the terms that might sound damning, like was this about race, and stuff like that. And then also like kind of focusing on like if you hadn't been put in the entire fest, what do you think would have happened? Do you think it was the right call to out your alliance? And it's just like I don't know. It was fine. I liked the tone of it. If even though I didn't love like the content of it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was sitting with my roommate and we were watching, and I was like, well, like Jack from Big Brother 21 got way more pointed questions than this. And I suppose maybe it's because they addressed it the whole episode, versus like they really didn't address some other things in past seasons. So Julie like really needed to address it with them once they left the house. Like those comments weren't addressed within the house. But I would agree, Chantele, that it was very light, later on the pointedness of it.
It's a little dull, not pointed.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of a butter knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Julie then kicked it to the HOH competition, which we got to see start. We also got news that this was going to be Zingbot week. And in a very unusual turn of events, looks like the Zingbot is coming tonight to be part of the Sunday night episode.
Yeah, I think they may have already gotten their zings. I'm not sure. I think I saw that Terrence was already talking about like, I saw a Zingbot. So yeah, it's they've been doing this. So we should really expect the double eviction to not follow the regular format, because we're getting tiny HOH instead of tiny veto. We're getting Zingbot HOH instead of Zingbot veto. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But they're trying to knock it all out in one night of like, okay, let's tape the live eviction, then have Zingbot come in. We'll get out of here early.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, it's better than, like on a Saturday afternoon, especially when they've had so much heat in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
If we lost the Zingbot this season, it would be, way too much. So we'll see what the ultimate zings were for everybody. And we can only hope that maybe the Zingbot will go back a couple of weeks for some of our recently evicted house guests to give us something.
Definitely. I want to hear some pool floaty zings. Like I do. I hope that's
Well,
what
Alyssa is
happens.
still there.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he goes that
Mhm.
route.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope I
And
laugh, actually. I just hope I laugh, to be honest.
I mean, it's tall order. And believe it or not, we're what? This is the 9th or 10th week of Big Brother, and somehow the fests are still happening.
They're sticking to their theme this year.
Mhm.
What
I mean,
was
they're
the
just
fest?
putting
It was
putting the word
Zingbot
fest.
Fest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. It's burning bot, Taryn.
No, don't. Was it? No, it was Zingbot Fest.
They said burning bot.
No, you know what? I can appreciate Burning Bot. I get it. I get it. That's okay.
Maybe with like how the blocks are stacked, it didn't look like how the Burning Man actually is that they burn
Yeah.
at the end of the festival. So
I think
that's funny.
what she said was this week is going to be Zing Fest, and the competition tonight was burning bot.
Bot.
It should be
Amazing.
I like Burning Bot. I think that's it's unusually clever by the way.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Shout out to Adam in the chat. Burning Bot was the name of the comp, but the week is Zing Fest.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let me invite the chat. If you have some questions for us, we can go ahead and take them. This has been a long week for Big Brother. Any other like takeaways from the end of this saga this week?
Like,
Whew.
Mhm.
My last takeaway that I will say to everybody that I've been saying since I got on the podcast early in the week.
Yeah.
If you have not had the opportunity to watch the 20-minute clip that Rob Has a Podcast put up of the Sunday night episode recap
Yeah.
with Taran, Chappelle, Amon, and
Lavina.
Lavina, do so. It is amazing. I learned so much. It is invaluable information for anybody watching the season. Do so.
Yeah. That's called How Kyle Ended Up on the Block Explained, if you are looking for what that video is called from Sunday night. I just feel like going back to like look at the cast of people on the show, like I just feel like that, where Kyle has I haven't been to a bar. I don't know any people. I feel like that we can do better in terms of casting in 2022 in a show that's watched by millions of people from all walks of life that are going to be coming into a like legitimate like pressure cooker situation. Maybe we can find people that can handle these situations a little better than Kyle, who just like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I've never, I like, what, I don't know.
And he was open about that right from the beginning of the game. He said, I haven't had a lot of experience with diversity, and I'm here to learn. And I don't think that this is a great environment to learn. I think that there are a lot of people in vulnerable positions who should not be held responsible to teach these people what it is that they need to learn.
Because at the expense of his learning, there are like for one 29-year-old man learning, there are thousands and tens of thousands of people that are hurt by his learning process.
Mm-hmm. He can learn all by himself if he wants to. He doesn't need to go to a Big Brother house to force other people to teach him. As Taylor mentioned to him, there are plenty of books and podcasts and other such things that he can use to learn these things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's take some of your questions here tonight as we wrap up this double eviction. Let's see. How about a question from Wade. Is it possible that Michael takes a shot at Monty, or that Taylor and Britt let him know about Monty wanting Michael out? What is the chances? What's the likelihood that this week ends with Monty leaving?
I would say pretty low. I think the only way Monty leaves is if he goes up on the block initially. Or if Turner goes up initially and Turner wins the veto. Because again, path of least resistance is Alyssa and Terrence on the block. And if that happens, Monty is pretty much lock safe because Michael should always target Turner before Monty. And that means that if the veto is used, Turner is the one that will go up. If Turner is the one that has it, he will likely not use it. So Monty should be safe if those are the nominations. So it would have to be fast that Michael learns that he needs to target Monty and needs to put him on the block or needs to put Turner on the block. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen in time.
Okay. This is a good question from Miriam. How will Kyle address the reason he was evicted with the jury? This will be awkward, right? He walks in and like, hey,
what happened?
Like, what happened? Like, oh, okay. Jasmine, Indy, Joseph. Funny story. Okay.
As it turns out, I was evicted for getting you guys evicted.
I had this crazy idea.
Terrence walked him through it, actually. Terrence told him, go straight to Jasmine. Talk to Jasmine first. Tell her that I told you to talk to her first. Tell her what happened. Ask for her advice on how to break it to the other two. Because Joseph is going to be so mad at you. And so I imagine that is what Kyle is going to do. He's gonna talk with Jasmine first and get Jasmine's wonderful advice.
I feel like Joseph, like, I don't think he's going to be that mad. Like, obviously, he's going to be upset that his game was ruined by all this, whatever. But, like, I think that he's still going to react in, like, a compassionate way. Like, I don't really see him getting angry like Terrence is anticipating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. How about this question? Okay, we got that one. Rachel wants to know, if Alyssa is not the main target, should Brittany and Taylor consider bringing her into an alliance as their GOAT?
Yes, but she won't be the GOAT. That's the issue. I think she could win against Brittany. I think Taylor still has her beat, but maybe I think that's way tighter. I would have to probably go over votes with you guys. But I think that would be a great move for her to try to link up with the other two girls. I've been thinking about it all week. But the issue is she would need to guarantee her win. She would need to go to the end with Brittany. And I think in order for that to happen, Michael has to get cut before Brittany even starts to entertain that idea. And if Michael just won HOH, I think that's going to be a bit tough to broach this week.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's an opening for Alyssa, again, especially because Monty is pretty openly targeting Michael. Turner will obviously be targeting Michael. If Alyssa presented herself as, hey, I am somebody on the other side, other than you and Brittany, basically, Michael, that if I win HOH, I won't target you. You keep me around. You have one more chance in this, and they're probably going to anticipate it. They usually do. In this upcoming double eviction, you know you're going to be competing in that veto unless Brittany wins the HOH. Keep me around. That's one more person that won't put you up. Do they believe her? Who knows?
Is she gonna win?
They already know that everyone else is gonna do it, right? And even if you don't believe it, like, even if you don't believe her, that you also have the idea that, like, oh, she might not win. And hey, maybe if I don't put her up, maybe there's a small chance she'll actually stick to that. And so why not if I know everyone else is coming for me? Really, everybody has that opening. Including Monty. If he just like stops talking about targeting Michael for a couple of days, and goes to Michael and says, hey, I'm totally not coming for you. I think Michael would even much sooner take that option with Monty than he would with Alyssa, but they should all be trying it. And then they should all nominate him when they win HOH anyway, of course.
Yes.
Okay. All right. This is a question from Forever Young wants to know, how do you see the season from here to the end now that everyone's game is out and it's almost like a reset?
So
right now it's just beat Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was about to say beat Michael. And then if Michael's gone, it's kind of wide open.
I'm kind of wondering if I actually am the Oracle. So I don't know if you heard
Yes, Chantal?
the
Yes,
recap
yes.
that I had on Tuesday with Taran. And while I was doing my preparation for the update, for the first time, I listened to the entire hypnosis session that Brittany gave.
Okay.
And there was a lot of language that was really familiar. And there's a few things that are very specific to the training that I have received as a hypnotherapist. So after I'm like going and I'm researching her name and I'm looking at her name and I'm like, I just saw a flash of like on a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, the name Brittany Hoops. And so I'm like, I wonder if I got the same training as her. And I was working at the school at the time. And so I was scheduling workshops and whatnot. And so I wasn't able to obtain any information from the school because of HIPAA and other NDAs that we've signed. But I did message her husband, who confirmed that Brittany did receive the same training as I did. And she also did have email correspondence with me arranging the workshop. So it was so random. But Taran said that maybe I am going to be the oracle now, that people that I randomly know that are on the season is going to win the game. So right
Wow.
now I'm seeing what her path might be, because that would be pretty epic.
Everybody
one
that
for one
knows
so far.
Chantel
One for
is
one,
excited.
right?
Maybe
I was
if she
shocked,
wins,
though.
her husband will knock on your door and be like,
Yeah.
No,
"Woo!"
but they're
in
not even the
Valley
same
pod.
country. Like, it's not like, it's a little bit more like far-fetched, because like we were doing these cohorts. Just 5 cohorts so far have been online. So I was in cohort 3-4. She's actually was in cohort 5, and I was corresponding with her right at the end of like my tenure there, like when I was working there. So like I just remembered her name on my spreadsheet organizing schedules, and we did have correspondence back and forth because he looked up my email at the time.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so
Wow.
I know. I
The
really wanted to share it
Oracle.
with you, Rob, because I know last week you're like, is
6
there anybody else
degrees
you know?
of Chantel Francis. Yeah.
Yeah, seemingly so. Hopefully with the winners being attached to me.
Okay. All right.
Maybe it'll just be final 2. Maybe that's the thing. And then it's just, it's up in the air. Who as long as you know Chantel, you'll make it to the final 2. Is
You
the
get
thing.
there.
Hopefully
Okay.
myself as well one of these days. So
Right?
Mhm.
That's what it is. It's until you win, Big Brother. Anyone who knows you is going to go on to get the crown. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Anything else we want to say about this eviction night of Big Brother? Well, we will have some questions from Kyle, presumably.
Yep.
We sent them in.
We sent him some questions.
Will
Excited
they
to
be
see the
answered?
answers. Yeah.
We'll see. They have been sent in.
Tomorrow on the Q&A.
Yeah, tomorrow,
Tune in.
Tara and I will be live. Let's bring in everything that's coming up here on RHAP. Okay, of course, it's Friday tomorrow, so that means time for Puya to tell you about what happens overnight with Taran at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Then Taran and I will be live for the RHAP patron Q&A. Of course, for the patrons of Rob's podcast, you can join in with us. We will watch the video of whatever we got back to our questions for Kyle. Then we will take your questions and we will answer them live at 3 p.m. Eastern for the patrons of Rob Has a Podcast. If you want to get on that, head on over to robhasawebsite.com/patron. Okay. All right. Then we had a great chat today with Kyland. Taran and I talked with Kylan Young of BB23 and Challenge USA fame. Talked about everything going on this week and this season on Big Brother. And then also talked a lot about Kylan's prep and his season over on the Challenge USA. So check that out. Very fun interview. We were live for the patrons of Rob Has a Podcast, and now it's up for everybody. Check that out over at robhasawebsite.com. Then
Can I just say it's so
Yes.
funny, like the like cast photo of Kyland and his vest and tie, like it's just so not his personality. It's so funny to like see
He's
his
very
like, old
professorial,
cast photo
yeah.
now that we've seen him on several seasons of reality TV.
Although he did do his like confessionals for the challenge, like in a suit jacket. I forgot to ask him about that. He really classed it up. Yeah. So, okay, he's doing dress up Friday. Okay. Then on Survivor 43, we kicked off the preseason. Mike Bloom and I went through everything to introduce you to the 18 new players participating in Survivor 43. Coming tomorrow, we will have the first of our tribe previews for you, where we will hear from the cast members directly and see what they had to say to our interview questions as we preview the first of the 3 Survivor tribes over on robhasawebsite.com with Mike Bloom. Then we talked about Snake in the Grass. We had so much fun with the women of Snake in the Grass. I got to speak with the whole panel, but Chantele, you and myself and Brooklyn Zed talked about the women of Snake in the Grass.
Fun times. Like I definitely enjoyed watching these women on my screen together. And yeah, I loved our conversation about it as well. It was good.
Yeah. Tara, did you get the chance to watch this yet?
Unfortunately, I've not had the chance to yet.
Busy week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would certainly like to. I will take any opportunity to get Suri on the screen. Very excited to hear that she is willing to play Big Brother.
Yes. Maggie, did you watch this Snake in the Grass episode?
Yes, of course. You know my Wi-Fi password. Of course I watched. Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
Loved it.
Yeah. It's very funny week on Snake in the Grass. Okay. Of course, over on Claim to Fame, had another great recap. This time we had the hosts of the Crime Scene podcast join us as Mari Forth and Sarah Carradine stopped by to talk with Jenny, Autumn, and I about Claim to Fame. Claim to Fame programming note for everybody. Claim to Fame is wrapping up its first season next week with 2 episodes. There will be a Claim to Fame episode on Monday night, and then the finale will be Tuesday night next week. So they're doing back-to-back episodes on Monday and Tuesday. So make sure you know about that so you don't realize that, okay, wait till next Monday and now I just got spoiled for the winner. Okay. So we will have podcasts for episode 9 and 10 coming next week for Claim to Fame. Of course. And it's the first day of September. Great time to become a patron of Rob Has a Podcast, because we've got a month of Big Brother coverage with everything that we're doing with the Q&A and the slop. The slop is going to be on Tuesday this week because of Labor Day. Frail Mary will join me on the slop. We've had a great season of the slop. So you get all of our bonus patron content. Plus you get access to our Rob Has a Podcast patron community, where I would like to humbly say we have the greatest collection of reality TV fans from around the world. We are also going to let the patrons know first when we do our live events as well. So it's a great time to head on over. We got Survivor kicking off later on this month as well. robhasawebsite.com/patron. And of course, make sure you subscribe to everything that we're doing on the podcast. robhasawebsite.com/subscribe. And we are creeping up very close to 6 digits on YouTube for subscribers. If you're watching us here on YouTube and haven't subscribed yet, you could be our 100,000th subscriber to the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel. And so that will be a great honor that you could tell everybody on social media, and you will be remembered forever for that.
And look, you don't want to miss out on being in the first 100,000 subscribers. Like if you're sitting around on your hands right now and you're like, I don't need to do it. I'll do it later. And then you do it later, and all of a sudden you're not in the first 100,000. It's like, man,
doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Like you're forever gonna know that.
You'll be sorry.
I was not in the first 100,000 subscribers.
We might close the books at 100,000. Nobody knows allowed to subscribe after 100,000. Okay. Yep. Chantele, what's coming up for you?
I'm not doing that much. Like the summer of love has kind of ended. All my Love Islands that I've been covering is pretty much done. There was an episode tonight, just doing a reunion. So I will recap that tomorrow at 6:15 Eastern on my YouTube channel, Reality Realness with 3 S's. So I'll definitely be doing more love stuff. I know that the Love Boat is coming. So love is going to be in the air in the fall. And
love, it's exciting and new.
Yes. Yes, exactly. But yeah, subscribe, and you can find me on Instagram at ShanFriendFran, and that has all my socials and stuff that I'm doing.
Okay, great job tonight, Chantele.
Thanks.
All right, then Maggie Morgan, what's coming up for you?
What's coming up for me? More Big Brother. Yeah, that's kind of it right now. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at @MLMorgan_. That's where I am, hanging
Okay.
out.
Are you
All right.
excited for the new season of Salt Lake City? Do you see the trailer?
Yes, the trailer just dropped for that. I haven't even spoken to Jacob about it. I sent it to him, but I haven't heard back from him yet.
Hope he's okay.
Yeah, definitely. It looks wild, Chantele. Like,
I know.
oh my gosh,
Mhm.
who punched Heather in the eye? Spoiler alert. I don't think it was anybody. I think she has a sty or something, but
Okay.
we'll see. Who knows?
All right, Maggie, thank you so much again tonight. And then Taran, what's coming up for you?
Of course, plenty of Big Brother coverage. I've got the House of the Dragon Book Club podcast going on. Very fun stuff over there. I also recently recorded about the Sandman with Grace and Rich over on Post Show Recaps. I released another Among Us video this week. See what happens when Sheriff Darren is in town. It's a fun one there. And of course,
I reckon you'll be sorry.
Oh, they will be. And they were. And you can find all that and more on my Twitch channel as well, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. Come find me over there.
Yeah, and by the way, we'll be doing a special event for the patrons on Friday night. Actually, we'll be doing a special event with the patrons, but everybody can check it out. We are going to be playing some Jackbox games with the patrons this Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to stream that as well. So that should be a lot of fun. We're going to play my favorite Guespionage coming up on Friday night. 7 p.m. Eastern. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.